Welcome back to our channel, everyone. I'm Luke.
And I'm Dan.
This time we have some soil testing, a little how-to video. So what do we got?
Well, we're going to use a little pH soil test. Show you how to use it.
Yeah, and this one's a little bit of an expensive model, but there are some cheaper ones on Amazon that use the same principle. They're almost built and designed the same way. I know this company probably would not agree, but they're very similar in the way they operate. They're a lot cheaper. I think they're like 60 bucks or something like that. And I think that would be a good option for you guys. But let's get to testing pH on some soil. How do you do it? Here we go.
All right. So what we got here is a little Bluelab soil pH tester. And here's the little sensor. And
this is the probe?
The probe, it comes in this little case, and you can see a little bit of liquid down there.
It's kind of dirty looking.
Yeah, it's kind of yellowish.
Yeah, it's
to protect the tip. What's in that fluid, Luke?
It's a potassium chloride. It's just not a nutrient grade, but it's a lab grade. And so what it does is it preserves the tip from drying out and the ion relation in there.
Okay,
but so that's what it's for. You have to store
it in there.
Yeah, it needs to be stored in that.
So you can't just leave it sit out on your counter
dry
like this.
You're right.
It won't work.
It'll damage the measurement probe over time.
So then it's got 3 buttons here, and this is going to be the pH. Let's turn it on.
All right.
All right, so we're going to test this soil. This is my eating tomato row, and it's got a lot of soil testing from our soil mixes that I just threw on here. So it could be crazy. I don't know what it's going to be, so let's see what we got here. So we just stick that probe down in the soil.
Can you see that? Yeah, stick it in there a ways.
And there's 7.1, so it's a little high.
Yeah, in that spot, you want to take a couple of measurements in a couple different areas.
Let's put it over here closer to the root of the plant and stick it down here. And
what do we got?
6.9 is still too high.
What are we looking for? We're looking like 6.5?
6.5, 6.4, 6.3, something like that.
For this stage of the plant growth?
Yeah, that's all just that one's a little better. 6 point, yeah, there we go. We're getting down to 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's try it. If you put it just a little ways in the soil, let's see if we get a different reading. Just poke it in there.
Typically, it is higher pH with a shallow reading. That's what I have noticed in cells in our tests as we're growing plants.
So let's just shove it down now at 7.1.
Yep. There it goes. It goes down.
6.9.
Still high.
Almost felt like I got into a mole hole.
Oh.
Let's try a different one. Put it in here. 6.8. Still a little high.
Yeah, let's try a different spot on your.
Let's go over here to this plant.
There's 6.5, 6.4, 6.3.
6.3.
So you want you don't want it's too high a pH.
No,
because
you can't take up the nutrients.
Correct.
Can't take it up. But you can see that the plants aren't suffering too bad.
Yeah.
And some of it's because I think it's organic. It's not as critical like if it was synthetic fertilizers. You'd probably have more of a negative effect being higher pH than organic. But that's a very simple way to test. I do have another pH tester. You want to show that one?
I guess you could, yeah. This one's a pretty good quality one.
Yeah, the other one's just a cheapo.
Yep.
And,
yeah, let's see what they read.
Yeah, check it out, compare.
Of course, the best way to check that would be in a calibration solution, but we don't have a calibration solution right at the moment. It's back at my place.
Let me grab it. Okay, here's another a lot less expensive one.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one before actually.
Analog, not digital. And it's got 2 metal surfaces there that they tell you you're supposed to, after each test, you're supposed to take this like 2,000 grit sandpaper and just go over it like that, and before you test it again. So it's we're
gonna stick this big plastic carrot in the dirt and see what happens.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Let's see what that, it takes a little longer to read. You see, going down. and I'm not sure. I think you have to give it like 2 or 3 minutes to get a reading, whereas this other one works.
Pretty instant.
Yeah, it's much better, much quicker. You can check things a lot faster.
Yeah, and once you measure that, then we should pull it out of the hole and just stick that probe right in the same hole, kind of right at the very bottom of it. See
what it is,
or the side of it or something. And
yeah.
See, what is it reading? Can you tell? I can't read it right here.
Yeah, let's see. 2.5 or right about 6.2 right there.
I see that. You can see it now.
Okay, so let's take that out and put this. It's turned on, okay. And let's put it right like that. That's 7.1. 7.2.
Stuff it down in the very center of the hole and see what happens.
7.2 still. Let's try it on the side of the hole, because that might be where this sensor is actually picking up. Then 7.4. So there's a
bit of discrepancy between the two.
Whole strong pH 1 point difference.
Yeah.
So don't buy this one.
I would say. Yeah. So I'm just going to tell you guys really quick, with this nice probe here, the better quality one, and even that cheap one that I was telling you about on Amazon, it uses the same principle of measurement, but you want the ones that come with calibration solutions. Usually it's like 3 different solutions, one at like around 4, the pH of 4, a pH of 7, and a pH of 10. And then what you do every so often is you stick the probe into those solutions and then hit like a calibrate button on your tester, and it will calibrate your tester, because over time it might slowly change due to tip wear or whatever, probe wear. That's what you want to do. If you get one, you have to have a way to calibrate and test it against a known pH. So that's really important to get one that has the calibration solutions with it. We recommend obviously this Bluelab one. They have newer ones than this, but we like this as a replaceable probe. You can just quickly unhook the probe off of there. It's like a quick couple, a BNC connector or something like that. And you can undo this right here. See, I can do it without looking. See, and you can put it back on like that. There. So you can replace the probe. The probe's like $100 on this one, and get a new probe whenever it wears out. So that's pretty handy. And then this probe right here is good for liquid solutions and soil. Some of these Bluelab testers come with probes that are only really designed for hydroponic fluids and fluid testing. They're kind of big, like 1/2 inch in diameter, or 5/8 or something. And then they're all glass all the way down. And then at the end, there's this little glass bulb in there. But they're not designed for insertion into soil. So they'll bust and they won't function properly when you try to jam it into soil to try to test some soil. So get this probe. I think they call it the LEAP probe, L-E-A-P probe, if I remember right. And I'll try to stick a link for it down in the description down below. But if you want to go serious with your pH testing, which in organics, it's not quite as critical as if you're farming or growing with synthetics and that kind of fertilizer, because your salts are a lot more important when you're doing that. But with organics, it's more forgiving. So you're really trying to feed the microbes more than the actual plant itself. So anyway.
This also tests other things too, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Good point. It tests a temperature of your solution. So there's another probe on here. We got to tell them about that. This part right here. Can you hold that up? I'm trying to hold the camera and do everything with one hand here. Yeah, this probe right here is what they call the EC probe, and or a temperature probe. So it does 2 things. It measures the EC, electrical, I think, conductivity of your solution. So you use that when you're doing like hydroponics and liquid fertilizers. So they'll kind of tell you how potent your nutrients are in your solution. And then it also will test your temperature of your solution. So I'm doing hydroponics at my house.
Organic hydroponics?
Yeah, of course. No, not regular conventional hydroponics. It's organic, of course. And I use this quite a bit to measure the temperature and the EC, but the EC is the most important thing. So the EC and pH. So a really easy way to understand why pH is important. Just think of it this way. If you have let's say, a high pH solution, and you put some calcium in there or some kind of mineral. So it's alkaline solution in a mineral with minerals. The alkaline's not really do too much unless it's really high alkaline. But if you put acid in, if you drop your pH into the acidic range very low, it'll start dissolving and absorbing in suspension those minerals. That's why if you have a pH in your soil of like 8, that's kind of a little bit high. Typical is more like 7.5. You know, 8 would be high. But you really want it down in the 6 to 6.5 range for like tomatoes, depending on what stage of growth they're at. And that will actually make a lot of those minerals more available to the plant roots and to the microbes because it's more acidic. And to kind of break down those minerals, if you will. That's just kind of a real layman's way of explaining it a little bit, because I'm kind of a layman anyway. But it makes sense. You know, make your solution or your soil a little bit more acidic. I'm exaggerating, but it will dissolve those minerals and eat at them. So that's one way to think of it and make them more available to the plant. So yeah, for lettuce, you're going to have a little bit different pH, a little bit lower than tomatoes. They desire more something like a 5.8 to 6 range. That's why it's helpful. If you really want to go crazy with pH measurement, have a really good tester like this Bluelab tester. They have smaller, newer models, but you can go on eBay and find them used too for a really good price. And even if their probes are trashed, just buy the main unit and then buy a new probe. And sometimes you can save yourself a whole lot of money doing that. So,
all right.
Okay. What you want to try to make the close, just to start a close? Like, hopefully you guys enjoyed that or something like this. You and I can,
me?
Yeah, you can just start
No,
saying.
you do that.
Oh. Okay. My dad didn't want to put the closing on this video, so I'm going to put the closing on this video. Okay, ready? Hopefully you guys really enjoyed this. Yeah. Hey, we had
See,
fun.
he does a lot better job than I do.
No, I just do what I do. Hopefully you guys like it. Hopefully you did enjoy this video and found it useful. pH measurement is a lot more critical in hydroponics, in my opinion.
And synthetic fertilizer.
And when you use synthetic fertilizers, than gardening in ground in the soil, because everything acts way faster in hydroponics than in the soil, and you don't have the buffering of the soil and everything. So if you guys are into that, hey, leave us a comment down in the section below if you want to see more content like this, kind of more good into the science side of things. If you think that's pretty neat. Yeah, we do sometimes. It's helpful. Hey, actually, we tested in your greenhouse just a few minutes ago.
Oh, don't tell secrets. Uh-oh. Boy, I caught you just in time. I'm sure glad you didn't slip that out, what the pH is in the greenhouse with all the giants.
Sorry. No. Actually, the pH in the greenhouse is... I don't know what else to say about that, but it's kind of like
good.
It's kind of like top secret stuff, kind of. And I'm not sure if I have that
clearance to say that. Yeah,
that's compartmentalized information. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. If you want more content like this, let us know. If you like the humor, or if you think it's dumb, yeah, let us know too, because obviously we want content that you like. We want to put that out there for you. We're planning still to do some videos on fresh milled sourdough, fresh milled yeast bread as well. So don't lose hope in that. We're working on it, and pretty soon we'll get a video up so everybody can have some more information on how to do that. It's kind of a lost art. There's a lot of people starting to get back into it, but there's definitely more than one way to do it. So I'm planning to have my dad kind of showcase his techniques, and then have my wife showcase her techniques, and hopefully it'll be kind of the best of both worlds for you guys.
I'm sure they'll like your wife's job a whole lot better than mine.
I don't know.
I'm just an old codger that makes bread.
Well, you did like win a fair against a bunch of old ladies when you're younger.
Yeah, that
The
was
Iowa
fun.
State Fair.
Yeah.
He blew out the competition. The old ladies were so grumpy. It was funny. How old are you? Were you like
I think it's
18?
17 or 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you thought, well, I'll just make some bread and enter it in. Who knows what will happen?
I had my grandma's recipe.
Oh,
Yeah. 100% whole wheat bread.
So you hijacked your grandma's recipe
Yeah. Yeah.
and contested against the other grandmas.
Yeah.
Do you think they actually voted on the quality of their bread, or they just thought it was fun to make a youngster win against the grannies?
Oh no, they have a whole line of judges. They all taste it and squeeze it and look at it and do all kinds of things. It goes down the whole line of judges, and mine just kept moving up, and all these poor old ladies in the audience grumbling and complaining. And this old young whippersnapper get in there and don't know what he's doing and beat them all.
That's funny. That's really funny. Yeah, I remember my dad, he was telling me that when I was young about that story. I always thought it was pretty funny. Hope you guys enjoyed that funny little bit of recollection there. Or what do you call that when you talk about old things? I forget. Is that just?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forget. Huh? What was that you just said?
Yeah. I think you better. Well, anyway.
Oh yeah, it's called reminiscing or something. Reminiscing. Oh yeah,
Reminiscing.
reminiscing. Yeah. Well, at least we got that straight. One thing we wanted to leave you with was a verse of scripture, and I know you've probably heard it before, but we have said it in other videos, and that is, Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me.